Hey, so I'm super excited to meet with fellow Taylor Swift geek, Mend with Mir. Mend with Mir is her I guess Instagram handle, but also I found her on YouTube because I was looking up lyrics to understand one of the recent Taylor Swift songs from Torture Post Apartment. So thank you so much for coming on here, Meredith.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I feel honored. This is my first podcast. I
Oh,
feel
really?
excited to be on it. Yes. Especially
Well,
with like spiritual seekers. I'm like, it's everything I love and more.
yeah, I was like, can we dive in on the divine feminine? Because I see her so strong as a divine feminine, and I
Mm,
was so excited that you said yes. So, um,
yes.
but first off, I guess to sort of introduce you to people, like you're a therapist that just started to like record on YouTube to give people insight on things, or was it more videos that you? Because I know like you react to other videos, but I saw you reacting to the Taylor Swift ones, and that's what got me.
Yes. So I didn't want to do YouTube. I actually found it like very cringe when therapists would do it initially.
Mhm.
But my friend and mentor had encouraged me for about a year. He was like, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. And I wanted to make there some free access to therapy. I feel like that's really important
Mhm.
online. And there were some things that I didn't align with, or I thought that weren't sending the best messages. And so it was that, along with the fact that I wanted to get a book published. And I
Mhm.
realized after so many rejections, you have to play the game and you have to have a following.
Right.
I just was like, we'll just see what happens. And that's when I did a series on loving an addict,
Mhm.
like handling that and all of the effects and stages of it for loved ones specifically, because I feel like they're often overlooked, when they're going through something like that. And that's when someone recommended that I react to the song Renegade. And I hadn't done a reaction video before.
Mhm.
And Renegade was by Big Red Machine, and it
Okay.
featured Taylor. And I was like, oh, Taylor, oh, that's interesting. And then the Swifties swarmed, and then it became a reaction.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Yeah.
you've been following Taylor Swift for like a while?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I will admit I wasn't from day one.
Right, right.
My friend likes to remind me of that because she was a hardcore fan before. And I was kind of like, yeah. But I would say what got me Red album was definitely
Mhm.
going through a breakup, and it really helped me. So it's been years of it, but I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm yeah,
I know
yeah.
because like you'll make a comment about you're like comparing one thing to another. And it's so funny. I've seen so many because now my algorithms are all like Taylor
Oh yeah.
Swift centered, but like seeing all these funny people having the same response to things where they're like watching her, reading her lyrics and then looking things up and then trying to understand like what's this linking
Yeah.
to? And it's just like this whole
Yeah.
little like research thing of just
Mhm.
trying to understand like the bigger picture and the stories behind and blah blah blah. So
Yes.
as I was saying before we hit record, like it was you need to calm down, like seeing that video and like how she was so empowering to like the gay community and like pride.
Yeah.
And I just was so moved by it, even though it's like kind of a silly and fun video. It just kind of touched my heart. And that kind of opened the door to like me looking into her music more. And this is only since February. And then I became like super obsessed. And my family's like, oh my God. I'm like, guess what song's in my head? They're like, is it a Taylor Swift song? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. So
Yes, it
so
is.
I've
Yes.
definitely gone down like big time. So I've been like doing backwards research and like
Okay.
my friend who's my business coach is also very much a Swiftie. So I can check in with her and she can fill me in on things. So I'll be like, okay, wait, what's this about? So
I love that. I
it's
love that.
super
Well, it's
fun.
cool that you need to calm down is where you were introduced. I find that like blows my mind. I don't know why I can't get over that, but it's also showing you that's just like a little insight into her fearlessness and how she does like root for the underdog, like that
Yeah.
for the people. And it's so odd because you see this being. She looks like a goddess model, and I think
Mhm.
that that's why some people love to hate her for that, because it's like, how would she even empathize or whatever? But she really did feel like such an outsider, and I think she was very different. I think that there's a lot of people that speculate like neurodivergence with her and things like that from when she was younger, had very hard
Yeah.
time making friends and things like that. So I think
Right.
that she's from very early on, yeah, but she hasn't been afraid, and that's what I to speak
Yeah.
out on behalf of anybody.
She's
And
just comfortable being herself. And like,
totally.
yeah, I think last summer I watched the Miss Americana or whatever on Netflix to get a better
Mhm.
insight to her because I was just I think when the Eras tour started last year, all of my friends with daughters, and I mentioned my oldest is a trans daughter, but I didn't raise a daughter. You know,
Right.
I had two sons. So
Yeah.
Taylor Swift wasn't on my radar. It was more like a girl mom thing. And so all the girl mom friends I know were going to see Taylor Swift, and they were all stoked. And I was like, what's going on here? They're not just going for their kids, you know, like
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of started like the curiosity. So then I watched This Americana, and I really loved how she felt so like pushed to speak her truth about like was it the 2016 election or the 2020 election?
I think in 2016.
Okay. It was maybe, I think
I
maybe it
don't
was
know.
2020. Maybe it was 2020
It
because she
might have
said,
been 2020.
I think it was 2020 because she was like,
Okay.
I didn't speak up before and I regret it, you know, because she was always such a good girl and like
Mhm.
people pleaser and like typical empath, basically,
Absolutely.
you
Yes.
know. And so I just liked seeing her stepping into her power. So what were you saying before about her, like astrologically, like with her Saturn return? And Saturn return is when you're 30, 29 turning to 30? Is that when or is it
Sometimes it's
32?
as early as 27 though, too, I think.
Okay. I don't really know
I don't know.
astrology.
I'm not like, I don't know it thoroughly, but I know that for her Reputation album where she says the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because
She's
she's
dead.
dead.
Yeah.
And it's her Saturn return, and she's got all of the serpents and
Mm-hmm.
symbols of Lilith, I feel like, and just it definitely is that, like, her being reborn, I feel like was that at around that time.
Right, where
Yeah.
she started to kind of take the reins and like be more in her power because of the stupid
Yeah.
crap that happened to her because of all of the dumb.
The many men. I mean, the many men that have wanted to take her down, and women. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's the, what is it? I think in Mad Woman, that in that song, she talks about like how like sometimes women, the wives do the dirtiest work for their men, and it's like that's
Oh
ultimately
yeah,
her. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I can
So
feel you on any of that.
I know,
You
because I'm like, if anybody doesn't know, you know, like with
yes.
the whole like, I mean, even if you don't know, you probably peripherally know, like I did. Like I know there was
Yes.
something that went down with like Kim Kardashian and like Kanye
Mhm.
West, but it wasn't until reading about, and that the song that brought me to you was Thank You, Amy. Because I just
Mhm.
wanted to
Wow.
understand like what you know, what's this about, you know.
Yeah.
I think because again the algorithms, something made a reference to Kim Kardashian and that,
Yes.
and so but so they, you know, were lying and manipulating her
You
back
want
in.
me to explain
Yeah,
that?
give us the.
Okay. So what had happened was, I mean, let's go back to the very beginning when she won the award, her very first like major award on
Right.
stage. Actually, that's probably not true because she won a CMA. It
Yeah,
depends on
yeah,
what you
the
consider.
pop culture world,
I
yeah,
was a pop culture VMA
yeah,
lover. So
yeah,
that was, and he took the mic from her, you know, that
right.
happened. And then a year later, um, she wrote the song and performed it on stage called Innocent. And in that song, it is, if you listen to the song Innocent, you're like, oh, Taylor, poor Taylor, I had no idea back then, because
Mm-hmm.
it's saying like your string of lights are still bright to me. Who you are is not what you did. You're still an innocent. So basically being like, it's okay that
Forgiving,
you did that to me. I forgive you.
yeah.
And so I guess they repair their relationship. They become like semi friends, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked her to present the like person of the year award at the VMA. I mean, there was some major award. And he like right after that, he puts out the song, but he calls her and Kim Kardashian is recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, I think Taylor and I might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous. That's the line. But when they recorded it, well, when this, so unbeknownst to her, they were recording her, and you can
Right.
hear it on it. She goes, "Why do I feel like something bad's going to happen?" She literally says
Yeah,
it on the
yeah,
phone call.
yeah,
So then when the song drops, she's like pissed, obviously. And she
yeah.
wrote, like, I never approved for him to call me a bitch, say that he made me famous, which
Right.
is just like, I have so many thoughts on Kanye where I do feel like he has a lot of traits of narcissism, like
Right.
truly, and he is a very like sick individual, but like to I think that there's like a part of him that has to be angry that she still continued to be successful, even though what he did should have damaged her and that she was able to rise above. Anyways, that's a side note because it doesn't make sense like why he felt the need to say that. But anyways, on the phone, he was in the phone call, he was trying to be like, yeah, I think it would be like funny for us to say like me and Taylor might still have sex. And she was like, okay, like I can kind of say, you know, you can tell that
Yeah.
she's a little like, oh, okay, but gives approval.
Right.
But so afterwards she says like, I didn't know that one part. And they released an edited version of the phone call that doesn't include that other part. I thought, I was like, well, they never addressed that part. I thought it was pretty obvious, but everybody literally was like, Kim Kardashian was like, she's a snake, and like put all those snake emojis, like
Yeah.
everybody hating her.
And then what
Um,
about the video where she was they made
naked.
like,
So
yeah.
yeah, after that, yeah, he used all these wax figures in bed, and right next to him is Kim
Mhm.
naked, him, and then Taylor, which I felt was almost like, even though it wasn't her actual body,
Yeah.
it was like
A
revenge
violation.
porn in a way, a major violation. And that's why everybody got mad at me that I said The Smallest Man Alive might be about Kanye. But I'm like, you deserve prison. I mean, that's actually something that shouldn't have been allowed, because she has spoken about how much, like, and if she's ever, she probably doesn't do it anymore, but when she used to go shopping, and she would do everything to make sure that she's never exposed. Like,
Hmm.
she doesn't want it, she wants it to be her choice if her body's ever exposed. He literally had her, I mean, bare
I
chest
know. I
in
know.
bed.
Awful. It's awful.
Horrible to do to her. And it's like, what is this? And that's why Who's Afraid of Little Me, like, think about how deranged that is. And like, she's just, this person has just been kind of relentless to take her down. And then and she, I don't know. I don't understand how she couldn't. I wanted her to get that phone call like released sooner, and I don't know why it took 3 years for it
Mhm.
finally, the whole audio, and that's where everybody was kind of like over it then. But
Yeah.
I'm like, is not anybody upset that this is like so
I
messed up?
know. And I saw that you reacted to the Cassandra song the other day, and I love that, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
in there she's just like, oh, when the truth comes out, it's quiet, you know? Like
it is.
everyone's believing the lies. Are you going to believe me now? Like
Yeah,
it's so crushing, you know?
it really is. And then
Yeah.
amongst all of it, how Scooter Braun, who bought her masters, is connected with Kanye too. So
Hmm.
it's like, Scott Borchetta was the guy who signed her when she was 13, when she went
Hmm.
to Nashville, and had really just, I mean, she's always sung his praises and really, but she had been asking for years and years and
To
years
buy
to,
her own music.
yes. And he wanted to do a deal where um every album she creates, then she can own like another album. So if she came out with Lover, if that would have been with that company, if they would have stayed together with that record company, she could have owned her first album. Then you create another album, then you can own the next. But it's
Oh,
like, but she's still not. It was a thing, and she was just like, no, I don't want to do this. And so that's why
yeah.
she left him. And out from under her, I mean, he sold for $300 million. He cared more about, and I know that he's apologized. She's written songs about that. Like, he's been trying to,
Yeah.
saying he didn't realize how affected, and it's just like, she's just like, no,
Yeah.
no, yeah. And the way that, Scooter and Kanye were really tight too, so it
Hmm.
all feels like a
Yeah.
weird, are you a sleeper cell spy, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
what did I do to deserve all of
Right.
this?
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know. I love how like unapologetically like truthful she is in her songwriting too, you know? Like it's pretty great. I
yes,
enjoy her so much. And like I've ended up converting people to her
good,
because people are just like, really? I'm like,
yeah,
don't make a judgment until you sit and read the lyrics, you
same.
know, just be
Yeah,
with it. And
she's a poet.
especially this new album, you know,
Mhm.
it was so there's just so much because I haven't sat with and actually dissected the other albums like I had this one because this was the first one that came out when I'm a newly Swiftie person,
uh,
you know. So,
yeah,
but it just like once the performances came out in Europe of like
yes.
holy crap, like she is just not even pretending not to be in like that sacred rage. And I know you did a series on sacred rage and it's so important. And in our moon circle last night, it came up also like we got to feel our feelings. You got to express your emotions. There's a lady who's really cool. Her name is Mia Magic. She's got a huge following on like YouTube and Instagram and stuff. And she does rage rituals and she'll bring women out to the woods and have them like smash sticks and scream
Yeah.
their hearts out. And it's really
Oh,
so cathartic and
oh
healthy.
my gosh. It is,
Yeah.
it is finally working with my therapist and getting and exploring like why I have such a negative connotation of toward anger. Like, I always
Mhm.
felt like it was like a precursor to violence, or my mom would also be like, would always make me feel like you're unintelligent if you get angry. And I know that sounds weird, but she would always be like,
It's like control
you able to
yourself.
regulate your own emotions,
Yeah.
control yourself. You're not an animal, and I'm
Right.
like, well, I'm actually an animal. And,
Yeah.
but it's also sacred rage. I feel like isn't like, which like, when she talks about and Mad Woman, what, by the way, you have to listen to Folklore next and Evermore. Like, I feel like that
I've listened to
the
them, but I haven't.
witchiest of the witchy. They're like,
Yeah, that's what my friends have
it doesn't
said.
even compare.
You're like that was her witchy era for sure. My
Oh,
friends
yeah.
for sure. And I've listened to them, but I haven't like studied them, you know.
Oh yes, but she says in Mad Woman, it's like taking my time because you took everything from me. And so I feel like it is something that uh anger, I feel like is just kind of like a guidepost that leads you to be like, okay, that doesn't feel right to me. There is
Mhm.
something not right here. There's an injustice, or it's like your intuition though too. But
Mhm.
moving it through, like giving myself permission to just like where I write all over the pumpkin, like everything I want to say, and then I just smashed it to pieces with a
Yeah.
machete. But I also will go in my car or scream in a pillow. Like I never gave
Yeah.
myself permission to move that
Yeah.
energy through, and it's so
I know
important.
the throat chakra gets very stuck, and like
Yeah.
there's a secondary chakra above the heart chakra called like the high heart. So these are
Mhm.
the areas that get clogged because we're not moving the emotions of our heart, you know. So I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, scream in your car, you know, sing and cry and scream in your car. Like
Yes.
that's so cathartic. Journaling, you know, you could, and with the full moon, you could always, you could do it anytime really, but like write things out and burn them. It can be
Absolutely.
very, you know, healing to do that, but nothing compares to like beating the shit out of something, you know,
Oh
if
my
you
gosh,
do so
I
safely. Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
had no idea, but it was getting really dangerous when like when a lot of horrible things had happened to me like all at once a couple
Hmm.
years ago. And it was like blood vessels were popping in my eyes really
Wow.
badly.
Wow.
I didn't understand rage like when my friends would say like, oh, my whole body would shake. And I finally, for the first time, it was like I didn't realize my hips were shaking and all of us. It was like I was like an animal just trying to like, I think, release it and like
Yeah.
trying to cope. And um you just realize how much it's like your body's trying to say, listen to me,
I know. I know. And then you had a thing where you talked about um like how your therapist guided you to like sit with it and like almost like make it as like anthropomorphize it and like have it be like tell me what you need to say
Yes,
kind of a thing, right?
lovingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very
Yeah.
lovingly. I just and it's like it's been there to protect me all along.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of shamed it, and so
Right.
it's like letting it in. And I feel like that's also tapping into like a divine feminine, being like, come here, let me hold you. What do
Right.
you want to tell me? Just like a little baby might be like screaming and they're angry, and you're just like, that's all that it is. I feel like for me, like
Yeah.
just like take it in and just like try to understand it and just give it space.
Do you know Kali, the goddess Kali?
Oh, I just so funny. My second book that'll
Uh-huh.
be out in a year. I have a chapter on Kali.
Okay, yeah, because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Ah,
crazy, like release, like death, destruction, kind of like burn it all down, you know, so we can start
yes.
again. Yeah. Oh, when you
And
said that, you talked about burning stuff, right? You're burning clothes or something when you were,
oh,
or she
every
was saying that in one of her songs. Yeah.
yes, and like she wants to burn all of her clothes, and I
Mhm.
totally understand that. But what's also awesome about Kali is that she's the protector of children though too. And so, and I think about that, what is that thing? Like when like the mother bear, I always would hear that until I had my son. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
That where it's just like overcomes you, where you were like,
Hmm.
I do not fuck with me and my child. Like I will murder. Like it's just, and so I think that that's where Kali like has that rage, but it's also to
Yeah.
as a protector and
Yeah.
destroyer of all things of like the darkness.
I know. Last year, I remember my one friend because I was seeing her for Reiki. I see her regularly, and she's just like, "Oh, you're in, you know, what was the other like righteous rage that you said your mom says, or like
Uh,
the other word for like
anger,
righteous, oh,
sacred
righteous anger or sacred rage."
rage.
So
Mhm.
and my friend was like, Karen, but this is good. She's like, Joan of Arc is with you. And like,
Mhm.
I was very vocal against our stupid board of ed at the time last year. It was very toxic and like
Mhm.
anti-pride, anti-woke and all this dumb crap. So I was very outspoken and I was just like, too bad. You're going to
Too
hear me, you know? And it's just
bad.
like that mama bear kind of like tunnel vision, you know, you're just like, oh
Yes.
my God, like I need to represent, because nobody else is saying it. I'm going to say it,
Gotta be the one to say it. And like, and look, you're gonna get stones thrown at you because you are the one who's speaking truth or speaking
Mhm.
your truth.
Right.
But it's better to do that than
Yeah. And I would call people out. Like, I mean, eventually I left a lot of the groups, like the community groups. I left them a lot after all that, because I was just like, I didn't want to see people, but
yeah.
or their comments, but I would be bold. I'd be like, like fuck you. Like I was like, and my one, like some of my friends on the side were like, this is why I don't want to speak out. I'm like, well, fuck them. I don't care. And like, let them be scared of me, because I'm the girl with the witch store. Like and
Yeah.
I'm not a dark witch. I don't do dark stuff. But if their fear has them afraid of me, good.
Then
And then
good. Good.
that lines up with, who's afraid of little old me. It's like, you should be,
You should be. You
And-
should be.
yeah.
But it's also, I think what Taylor, her music, I think TTPD is like so different because it's moving into, I think, her trying to reconcile like who she is now as a result of the people around her, where like
Yeah.
no longer can she won't act or be how she can't be naive ever again,
She was so sweet and innocent, and like I forget how the exact lyrics go, but like, you know, that she used to be innocent, and as a result of that, like now she's not, because of you and how you've trained her, and you know,
Yeah. But
it's
like even think about what you were just speaking on, like what you've gone through, like with the
mhm,
Board of Education or whatever it
yeah,
was. It's just like, um, how can you not be changed when you realize there's so many people
yeah.
that they're actually the ones that are negative and hateful and like won't want to support people. It's
No. And to have me being outspoken in a sort of small community, it's not miniature, but I could feel all the eyes on me. I could feel that I had to like extra protect my house and my energy. And I really did feel it.
Mhm.
Like the sage would burn longer when I burned it. And I was like, okay, it's like a lot of people looking me up. Like I would make certain posts public on purpose. Like I know they're stalking my profile, so fuck them, let them look at me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's only on this small scale. Can you imagine having like, the whole world? And I love that she kneels and prays, like making fun of like the Christian like
Yeah.
mafia or whatever, the people who are like such assholes, and judging her for living her life. And she's like, you don't gotta pray for me. I love it so much.
Pray for
I
me.
love how she's just like a big, like, just so strong in her power now. She's so embodied.
Yeah, and that's where I think, and thank you, Amy. She's like, it ended up healing her or like empowering her in a way. I think that she's starting, that was more toward the end of the album.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking like she's starting to get a little bit more into that healed space where she's just like, you
Yeah.
know, coming to terms and who's afraid of little old me, like I like, or another song where she goes, what if it's who you become,
Yeah.
like if what the changes that have happened, if it made you who you are now. But I think now she's healing and she's thinking about, you know, thank goodness some of these things did happen to her because
Yeah. Yeah.
now she's even a bigger light for and speaker of truth. And I think about all of the younger generations who are listening to her music and like didn't even get like the first 3 albums, but like got this state. I'm like, wow. I mean, and I think that's why a lot of the Lana fans are happy that I've like started with more of her older stuff, because Lana, and that's off topic, but like she had some like really questionable messages
Did
in the
she?
past.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I didn't follow her music, so.
Oh yeah. Like ultra violence is about like he hit me and it felt like a kiss. Like it's talking about being a victim of
Oh
domestic
no,
violence, but like how
that's
but
not
it's
a
also
good.
showing a victim. You know what I mean? So I am very happy that I've seen like the change that she's made, and I know it's in a different way, but I think that Taylor too has like been like, okay, how do I alchemize this? Because she has been a great alchemizer since day one of her life.
Yeah, I know. It's really cool. Like in that Miss Americana, she says something like, "I wish I could heal people." I'm like, dude, you do. Like that is what you
You
do. But
do.
her music, the number 13, you want to,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
her birthday is December 13th, so that
Yes.
became like her favorite number, and that just was her thing.
Well, but if you think about it, it's like, was she actually aware that, I mean, she has scenes in, I think the Bejeweled music video of the numbers on an elevator. And it's like taking the number 13 is like, was always superstitious, considered
Right,
an unlucky number.
right.
and she's taking it and owning it, I feel like, and alchemizing that idea around it and being like, no, it's actually a good thing. And that's kind of, you know, it's like conversion magic in a sense, I feel like. And when you think about Friday the 13th, how that was turned superstitious when it really was celebrating
Right.
women. And now it's like, can we turn it back again? You know, like
But people
she's
don't even know. And every year, you know, whenever a Friday the 13th happens, I always like post the same shit to people because I'm just like taking it back. This is the original meaning of it. It's
Mhm.
not evil or bad. It's the, you know,
Right,
the church and the patriarchy that turned it all and inverted it
right,
all, made it bad.
exactly,
There's so
exactly.
many, there's so many words that have been flipped and turned negative that are actually positive, like crone and hag.
Mhm.
And, you know, the fact that we say hysterical is like as a bad thing because it's like
No,
the, you know, the womb. It's like it's crazy.
it's crazy.
It's
No,
very
but
upsetting. So I like that she's like, you know, uses it for good, you know, and
yes,
brings light to it because there's 13 moon cycles in a year and there's 13 menstrual, you know, like periods in a year,
yep.
and that's where like the power of 13 comes.
And
So
she continues it on, and people, you know, the biggest problem where people are like, she's practicing witchcraft on stage is with Willow. I don't know if you've seen that performance yet.
I think I have.
Willow, yeah. So there are 12 dancers, and she's the one in the middle. So there's 13, which also symbolizes, you know, in astrology, the planets that go around the sun. And
Mhm.
um, some people are like apostles and Jesus, and like just kind of like
Right.
kind of putting her, you know. But she's what's cool is that they each have a full moon, like a light that they like
Oh,
lift up
really?
to.
Okay,
Mhm.
I guess I haven't seen it because I don't remember that. I know the
Yes,
song though.
yeah, she like dances around, I mean, look, it's witches, it is, but at the same time, I think that she's trying to change that word, just kind of like how they called her a snake. So
Yeah,
then reputation, all snakes. I'm gonna wear snakes. I'm gonna be a snake. And then also with them like saying she puts narcotics in her song, she must be a witch. And
yeah,
so that's why I don't think that people understand how like smart and sarcastic and the irony, but then also just like embodying like you think I'm this like negative dark thing,
yeah,
sure, go ahead and call me that, and I will become it, and I will use it
yeah.
to heal. I
I
mean, truly,
know. I know. That's how I converted my friends. I'd be like, watch this video, like watch the performance of it, like, you know, from like Paris, so like, you know, the beginning, and read the lyrics and, you know, then tell me what you think. You know, like see
yeah,
how it goes.
it's all in there. I mean, and she's just, I mean, I think that just embodying that creative side and rebalancing things though too. Like that's what I really like, is I think that I mean, and look what she's done with all of her pain. I mean, she's literally gone to these different cities and helped economies and
Hmm.
generated all this wealth, and it's just
Yeah.
undeniable. And I think though, like I think she's probably bracing herself for the kickback, like for the really, and this was like a really high to go on, because, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm like prepared for people to start like
To
breaking
turn
her
on
down.
her.
Yeah. Not her fans necessarily, but I already know that some people have been saying like, my mom's told me this because she watches some questionable news.
Because you don't even watch those kinds of things. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And she's like, yeah, like I heard that she's gonna like and flip the election. And I was like, Mom, she's already tried to and
Yeah.
wasn't able to do it back and whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like it's just this idea that she's doing something bad.
Well, I know, and that's crazy about the whole again, like I don't watch that stuff either, and I barely am aware of the craziness that people are saying. Like I try not to even read comments on things because I'm like, oh, that's cute. Let me, and I look at the, and I'm like, oh my God, these people are so like people are so angry, people are so mad, like, are they full with such hate? Like I just don't understand why people are so decidedly against her. It doesn't make any sense. But the whole like there was some conspiracies before the Super Bowl and stuff, and you're like, come
Yeah.
on, like and
Oh,
I think that I had come to my own conclusion, like, you know, in the little the scant amount that I was aware of Taylor Swift and her relationships, I could
yeah.
see that she and Travis seem very like balanced and like they seem like I was like I told my friend, I'm like, I think that they're like represent the divine feminine, the divine masculine. I said this to a group, the Board of Ed group chat, which are not my witchy friends. And I remember it was met with crickets. And I was like, oh, I just dropped a little truth bomb in there. Let's see how they handle that.
You're so lame.
Because not everyone can see it on that level, but like
Yeah.
but I
Oh, it
it's
is.
clear to me. And like he's
Here.
such a healthy version of masculinity, which is so cool. And she's such a healthy, like powerful divine feminine. I'm like, oh my God, like it's almost like this beautiful thing. And then meanwhile, the script is saying the Antichrist and like they're like whatever that they are, and that they were
Yes.
gonna wreak havoc and be evil together or something. I don't even know. But they're like, how can they turn and make this blonde-haired, blue-eyed country singer into like the Antichrist, you know? But
I know. I
but what
know.
is the Antichrist? Is it just saying like evil? And it's like, is it evil or is it feminine power? Like, which is it, you know?
I,
So
that's the thing. That right there is all that I think about with it. It's like the hate toward, yeah, feminine power, like to see a woman who's able to do all these things, like
mhm.
without
A self-made billionaire.
self-made billionaire and really, really smart decisions. I mean, again, like her parents are a big part of her life. And I know, I mean, what's interesting, the similarities between their parents though, are like their parents are both divorced and it's kind of like on like,
Her mom is divorced too?
that's her
Oh,
mom and dad are divorced
I
and
didn't know
his
that.
parents are divorced
I knew
too.
his parents were divorced. Yeah.
Yeah, her parents have been divorced for quite a while. I won't go in that too much about like what people think about her father, but it's a very interesting childhood though, because she grew up, you know, on a Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
but her dad was a stockbroker. So too, so he had both. And so I think she's talked about it, been exposed to a lot of, you know, understanding of greed and money
Mhm.
along before, you know, I didn't know
Yeah.
about any of those things back then, but that's a tangent. But I feel like it's interesting though, because I think that she realizes how powerful her words are and that she really, I think, created this to happen because she literally was like laughing the other day in her song because she was singing from back in
Oh
the day,
yeah.
like about with a football player, like
Oh yeah.
being
When
a
she was the
football player, like
15.
from a high
Yeah.
school. Like
Yeah.
what? Like that's
Yeah.
just like so crazy. And 87 and 89, like it's just the whole and
Yeah.
the Super Bowl was the 13th game that she attended and like
I know. And it's like she's not that, that's just divine magic. That's just how this shit
yes,
works. It's not like she's like sitting there plotting,
no.
you know? Like I know she likes the Easter eggs and stuff, but things like that just happen because that's the magical world we live in, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
and how many other pop stars have, I mean, it would make such a difference if there was like when I think about, I don't know, somebody was saying like Stevie Nicks or Cher, like if a man came out and was speaking so highly about their wife who was super powerful too. Like I feel like him talking, you know, just being like, yeah, lots of people care about her and for a good reason. And he's always the way that
yeah.
he supports her
Hmm.
too. It's just like so refreshing and it's like it's about time.
Yeah. I remember being like,
Yeah,
she deserves that. And I'm like, what do I even
deserves
know?
it.
Why do I even know this? But I just felt that way from seeing the way, you know, and it's nice to be, she is tall. It's nice to be with a big guy that makes you feel small, you know? So,
For
or
sure.
not small, but makes you feel protected and safe, you know?
I mean, and I think that they've said that her dad can sleep better at night, like now, because yes, she has a security team, but it's like, look who she has beside her. Like,
You know, I love
we're
it that her
not that.
security team kind of took a step back when he's around because they're like, he's got it.
He's got it. They don't need to worry. I
Right.
just, I love it. I love it so much. Like, I'm so happy about it. And I know that she took down, like on her Instagram, she had about Lavender Haze, I think. She was giving, before the last album came out, she was giving a lot of midnights. She would talk about like what the songs were about. And so she was saying, oh, Lavender Haze is about like keeping your love protected or whatever. And she's like taken it down since because it's like she doesn't want to promote that, where it's like, because all of the guys that she dated in the past all wanted to like, you know, keep her head in. They didn't want to be associated. They didn't want to be like the doting boyfriend that they should have been. And so now she's like, no, 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 love should be like this. Like
Out loud. Yeah.
not acting like they've done anything wrong. Like go be
But
out
they
and
were
about
like
life.
threatened by her fame, probably. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
just celebrates it, you know?
It's about time.
I
Uh,
know.
I love it so much. I
I
just
do
feel like it's
too.
just
It's
so needed.
adorable.
And not even like just the client, like I have one client who she's 14. I
Mhm.
cannot tell you how many times when she was dating this doofus, like I mean they're 14, but I would just be like, what's going on? I was like, what is Taylor saying in her songs? And she will like repeat it like word for word like, back to me. And I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
what is
Apply
Travis
that.
Kelsey?
Yeah.
Or do you want like a Joel Allen? What do you want? And she's like, a Travis Kelsey. I was like, yes. Like in the sense of somebody who will celebrate her and not be embarrassed by her. you know?
Right. Yeah, totally. That's really sweet. I love that so
Yeah.
much. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring up, like we had said, maybe the content and the banning of your stuff because you're empowering people. I just think that's interesting. Like you're in this role where you're educating people and empowering them with like basic
Mhm.
self-love and like tools for like how to live a healthy and balanced life, and you're finding trouble on
Yeah.
your YouTube for it. So I
Getting
just like,
strikes. I mean, I can only, if I get 3 strikes, they'll take it down completely. I only have one against me right now.
mm-hmm,
I had to take like a class
mm-hmm.
on how strikes happen and all of that. And it was just a very, it's really concerned me because I'm like, how is this happening to me when I literally feel like I'm giving people tools, helping them, uh, showing them vulnerability. Like I'm being vulnerable with myself, but also hearing these songs that are so vulnerable and healing.
Mm-hmm.
How is that ever a problem? And
And it's
it's
not
just
like you're saying it's your music. Like
no.
what's the problem when you're clearly posting it as I'm reacting to this and giving you guys insight? Like where's the threat there?
I think I think there's something there has to be bigger going on.
I
Like why
know.
and it's really, really creeps me
Yeah,
out. Like
it's
I'm like,
very
what's
creepy.
happening? Yeah, like why is this now an issue? And one of the things that I've had to, I mean, there's been oh, you know what's interesting? One of the things, and I haven't even talked about this yet on my YouTube channel, was that when I did a Mother's Day post, I did two. One got because one I didn't sync up with it, and then part of it was because of the editing process. I was cutting it all up because I was trying to take Brandy Carlisle's song "The Mother" and put it in there, and they
Mhm.
completely blocked her song. Like I you couldn't even.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I want to react to Brandy. What was it? Because in Brandy Carlisle's music video, "The Mother," I mean, she's a gay couple, and there she shows lots of that throughout. You know, mothers and mothers with their children, and fathers. And just is it the images? Is it what I'm speaking about? Like, I don't know
Where the
if
line gets
it's me,
drawn.
if it's like who, like where, what the issue is. So, and so I couldn't even post it, and
Yeah.
it's just like it was blocked, and it just said blocked in every country, and I was like, okay, so I had to like whittle down my content, and I didn't like it, what it ended up
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like, oh, that didn't take the whole picture of everything that I wanted to do.
It's so maddening. Like I know a lady who she teaches people about the Amanita mushroom, which is the red and white mushroom, like from folklore, but it's real, and it's actually very helpful, and it's
Yeah,
legal. So
yeah.
she used it to help get her off of benzodiazepines, and
Hmm.
it's a good and natural anti-anxiety, and it helps with sleep, and it also kind of shifts your perspective and helps you see things. You don't get like, I mean, you can get high, but it's not like you're getting high. You're getting like a perspective shift, a vibrational shift. But
I
like
take
they
them every
constantly, what'd you
night.
say?
I said I take them every night.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you're
I mean,
familiar.
something like it. Yeah, I know what you're trying.
Yeah, so it's
I'll tell
like
you why.
it's like a healthy, good thing.
Hmm.
Nature's gifting us these amazing healing medicines, and
Yeah.
she regularly comes into problems because she's trying to bring love and light to the world. You're like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? It's so bizarre. So it's like, I hope you have like a mailing list that you like encourage people to like sign up for, so if anything ever happens where they take you down, you can at least still reach your people.
Why didn't you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't, and the numbers just like keep going up. And so, I mean, yeah, I should, I was
You
ready
have
to see what I could do.
one more task, one more thing to do.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. And try to add it to the list. But yeah, I think about it all the time. I'm like, I mean, just the biggest thing was the sexual assault one though, too. Like
Mhm.
doing the series was called the Red Zone. And that's where like the stats are that first semester of your college experience, that fall semester is what they call the red zone, where like the most sexual assaults occur on college campuses. And
Okay.
that's my background, was I would work on college campuses
Right.
as a counseling center. And so I mean, in those, I had to really fight to get those videos to actually be shown. They were blocked at first, and then I peeled
Oh,
it and I had to go through. But it's just like just to show a video on YouTube.
yeah.
And I remember Lana's one of, I think it was her A&W music video that I did, that got like tons of views, but it wasn't it was demonetized. Like I don't think people realize, like all of those videos, like I don't make any money from the ads or anything from,
Right,
because
right.
anything that they consider controversial or has trigger warning on it,
Wow.
they won't.
Yeah. And so you also
They're trying to
you have,
persuade you not to do it. Yeah.
it's like, it is twisted. And you also have like a private, like a subscriber aspect within, or something like a membership or something,
I
right?
have a membership. Yeah. Those are for anybody. I mean, there's like 99 cents to like 9.99, where I will give some more personal videos and talk a little bit more openly on those
Mm-hmm.
ones about things
Mm-hmm.
going on in my life.
Right.
I don't want totally out there for everybody on the internet. And then,
Yeah.
or I'll give people early access to their videos, but I have kind of cut down on it a little bit just because of, um, I don't know. I'm moving out of the fear, but I did feel kind of like fearful and frustrated, and
Mm-hmm.
where like hours of my life is dedicated to doing these things on the side, and
Right.
then it's like
Just,
they're shutting it down,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
When did you get into your witchy side, or your, like, when you started, like, I know you see someone for Reiki, so it's like, when did that kind of creep into your world?
Well, I think I've always been kind of this way. I
Mhm.
didn't realize it, like as a
Right.
girl, like growing up in the woods and, just spending hours by myself there. Um, but my friends and I have been saying for a while, we're like, we're witchy, we're witches, because like, but just in a joking way, but more so, I would say, I mean, I had done Reiki. I mean, I had like a supervisor in grad school even recommend it. So that was back in like 2014. So,
Mhm.
but I think that recently Gina, who's been on my channel and who's done Reiki with me, when I shortly after I had filed for divorce and found out about and infidelity and drug use, like more so after, like right after, I didn't realize, like it's like, who was I with?
Yeah.
It's like somebody like living a double life almost. And I was just in the depths of despair, and I just like Googled Reiki in the middle of the night because I was living in New York City, but I was visiting my parents and I was in Columbus, where I live now.
Mhm.
And I looked it up for like 9 a.m. the next day. There just happened to be a slot. And then it was like, it did so much wonders, because I just felt like I constantly had like a hand around my neck. Like it was just
Yeah.
constantly felt like I had something like on me. It's like, it's hard to describe. And it's like,
Yeah.
she helped me to release that. And I I don't know. I always will say like, no one really knows. And so I'm not sure what happens whenever she does it, but whatever it makes me feel better and it helps
It's,
me.
I always just say, it's like scrubs the energy field. It's like you're giving a
Yes.
car wash. It just kind of rinses you clear and pulls off. It's almost like scraping away like the top paint layer that's like all crispy and crunchy and stuff, and just kind of polishing the body back to polishing the energy back to like peace and calm, and
Yes.
strips away
It
all of
makes
the layers.
such a difference. And from there, I've also just crystals. I just became, I don't know, I just like leaned into anything, and it really, really, really helped me. I mean, it
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So the witchiness has been there for a while. I mean, for a
Because, like,
very,
because you mentioned in that one video, like this morning, I was like, like I said, I was like wanted to research some more about your Sacred Rage like
yeah.
video, and you mentioned something about the eclipse and the moon, and you're like, there is something to this, and I was like, yeah, it's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of fun when we could turn around and like start to like, oh my god, it's been here all along. Let me try and utilize it and like like tap into that.
I know. I mean, and it's crazy that we're doing this on a full moon, like full
I
moons
know,
tonight and
and the
more solstice.
solstice yesterday. I know.
Solstice. I mean, it's been yeah, when you finally realize, it just makes so much sense. And my son he's autistic, and so I've just noticed like on a full moon, or it was crazy because it's like when he wouldn't sleep or when he was having the most
Mhm.
difficulty at school or whatever, it was like right. I could be like, what's the moon?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. This is what's
full
going
moon.
on. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But I
Mm.
think it's those like the creatures that are like just at a different high, he's at such a high frequency and just on another
Yeah,
plane.
he's
He's very
probably very
sensitive.
much a rainbow child, crystal child, whatever you want to call it. My oldest is also on the spectrum. So like the sensitivity she had as a baby was crazy. Like I'd be like, how she's asleep, and I'd walk out of the room like
Oh
very,
yeah.
very slowly to try to like tiptoe quietly out the room.
Oh
And it was before I knew about energy the way I know it now. But I was
yeah.
like, what is going on? Like she'd pick up her head like the second I went through the threshold. Like it was crazy making her level of
It,
sensitivity.
I know. And I've also, it's it's taught me so much. And I had so much guilt for a while just because like finally like leaving, you know, a bad marriage, but realizing he had a speech delay and just like wouldn't talk a whole lot.
Mhm.
And then it was like once that tension was removed,
Wow.
and I was like, oh my gosh. And so it was like even though I
He
thought I
saved
was
his
keeping it hidden,
Mhm.
I thought I was doing a good job of, you know, oh, you know, it's like, no,
Yeah.
he can feel everything. He knows what's going on.
Right, right. He has, yeah, that's clairsentience, you know, you just feel energy. So yeah,
Yep.
he was very tapped into the tension and didn't want to even, maybe didn't feel safe to speak or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just been, it's made me even clearer on boundaries and energy and protecting that with,
Yeah. I remember Oprah saying like she was like my like spiritual godmother in many
yeah.
ways, you know.
Yeah.
And she had like a sign up or said there should be a sign, or I remember her mentioning like be mindful of the energy you bring into this room, you know, like before a meeting or something like that. Because once you're aware of it, it's so obvious and so loud. But before that, when you're not living consciously like that or sensitively, like with your intuition and stuff, your brain overrides the logic, pushes it all aside, and you're like, oh, quit thinking that it's fine, you know. And you're like, no, this person's clearly messed
Yeah.
up, or there's an angry tension, but like if you don't give it language and you don't acknowledge it, you just make yourself more crazy. So it's better to
Exactly.
just be honest with your
Yeah.
experiences.
I know.
Acknowledge
Cause
it.
otherwise I feel like it makes you sick. Like
It can. Yeah.
yeah, if
I
you
mean,
let it go.
that's like disease, you know, it's like
Yeah.
unexpressed. It's like the issues are in the tissues, you know? So do you
Absolutely.
know that, it's totally like random. The author's name is Gabor Mate, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have one more
He's so
day. Yeah.
awesome. So
Oh yeah.
I just got, I don't know when the book was published, maybe a couple of years ago, but it's like The Myth of Normal. And in it, it's very chunky. Like I had no idea it would be this big, but I'm breezing through it okay. But it's about the mind and body connection, like through science, which is so nice that because I've been living in this world where, you know, there's not a lot of evidence for the things I do, but here it is in with evidence to support the mind
Yes.
body connection, like the spirit connection to, like, you know, someone with a messed up childhood or hard experiences has physical problems later in life. So yeah,
Yeah.
emotions, suppressed emotions and trauma can make us sick, literally, you know.
Literally make us sick.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
good book to kind of marinate in that reality of like, yeah, this is real, it's not just woo woo, you know.
Oh, it's definitely not. And I love whenever there are like the science that back all of it up. I mean,
Hmm.
but even in psychology, we've always been like things are psychosomatic. It's like,
Hmm.
why does your stomach hurt today? Like you're
Hmm.
about to do a presentation, you're anxiety stricken, it affects your guts, like it goes right to it. And it's just like it's and learning ways to calm our nervous system. I mean, that's just been my biggest thing to kind of like to get grounded because I feel like always wanted to live up here, like
Hmm.
chakra, like with spirits or whatever. And it's like,
Right.
no, 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 I am in this earth. I'm like, I don't want to be here. Being back in my body and actually feeling these things. And I'm like realizing that letting yourself feel them
Right.
can heal it too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know. In chakra development, people sometimes just want to like work on the third eye, and you're like, you have to work on all of the chakras. You know, they all have to be in working alignment. You can't just like rush one because then you'll
Yeah.
be imbalanced, you know? So
Yeah. I remember, see, this is where this was years ago. This was like 2008 or something. I was dating this guy, and I remember we were at a charity event, and there happened to be like this world renowned healer there or whatever. And I was always struck by, always will remember that because I remember getting on the table and it was outside in Malibu with this beautiful grounds. It was like unbelievable. And he was telling me like, and I wasn't in a great relationship then either. It's like not been my thing with men. I'm not good at picking. And so he was like, "Oh my gosh, like all these angels are out right now. Like they're here. They're wanting, you know, to be with you." And then I remember getting off the table and then hearing him say to my ex that he's like, "Your root is dead."
oh my God.
Root. And I was like, and I just knew, I was like, I gotta run. And I think I like broke up with him the next day.
Like that can't be good.
But isn't it weird? It's like, oh, all the different ways that he showed me he like wasn't good for me. But I heard that and I was like, oh, that person must know, like that sounds right. And it was, it was
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Well, I wonder if like you had that pattern of like the empath trying to fix the narcissist type of a thing.
I
So
absolutely have. Yes. I
yeah.
my Reiki friend, she was the one who recommended me to do this course that was called like empaths versus narcissists, like and how we are
Nice.
just like so.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a book called Dodging Energy Vampires by Christine Northrup. And I
I,
recommend that to people because
I feel
it's
like I've
good
heard
just for energy protection and energy awareness, but then it also has like a chunky section on narcissism. And the end result being you will not fix them. And I've heard you say that too.
yeah.
Like you can't, as much as we want to help everybody, it's like these are people that really you can't help. And to just
Well, yeah, that brings me back to Taylor because I still haven't reacted or listened to just because like it's like sometimes I just need it.
I don't know how you do this. I don't know
Overwhelms
how you can
me.
not listen to the whole album. Like,
No, because
but
I
I mean,
want
I
to
appreciate
reaction. Yes.
I appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, she hasn't even listened to all of it
No, I
yet.
haven't listened to all of them, but I know that she's like, one of the songs is like, I can fix him. And I was like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
God, I have a feeling I'm
Oh
gonna know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good
I
one.
think I'm gonna, no, it is killing me. Like, I'm like, I gotta get through it, but it's like, it also, some of her songs, like, it just like, whoa.
I think
That like,
by watching you react, it helps me process it better. So it's really, I forwarded it to your channel to many people
really,
because I'm like, it's so good. It's so good. Like to just,
I'm
because
glad
like
you
you
like
really
it.
dissect it and like, and I love watching your, emotions and your reactions and your intelligence and how you tie things back. And you even know, like, I didn't know about the also ran. Like, I didn't know that was a term. And I asked my husband, he's like, oh yeah, I know that. That's like well, and I'm like, you're so smart. I'm like, I didn't know that, So it's cool to hear like you link things and look at it deeper.
Yeah.
And like, what was the other one with Crimson and Clover? And she actually had Crimson and Clover in another song too, from like
Yes.
yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So
Yeah.
I love the nuances that you pick up on because there's a lot of things that would just go right over my head.
Okay. It's so funny because you like think about like, what do I want to do with my life? And it's like, this literally is everything that I love. I was like, psychology, music, the lyrics, like,
Right.
I mean, I've always been this weirdo who just like always loved.
And now you have like an audience who's like
I
eating it
know
up. It's so
they
fun.
love it. And I'm like, yes, I've had my people,
That's
you know,
awesome.
because
Well, well, the Cassandra one, like that was, I
yes,
think I can't mention that already, but like I I loved that too because I don't know Greek mythology, so it
I
was
love
cool
it.
to hear you break it down, and it's
Yes.
just so good.
She
It's
uses
just
so much Greek mythology and in her music videos though too.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of symbolism with that. And I always am just like, oh my gosh, she's so smart. And I'm also thinking like she didn't finish high school. So it's like, why, like, what, is she just doing this on the side? Because I mean, I don't love to read it. You know what I mean? Like I love,
right,
I mean,
right.
I took a course, I think in college, but I don't like now
And
I'm glad I know it, but I don't, you know,
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
wouldn't do it. I don't think otherwise if I didn't have to.
I know. She really is just super, super gifted in so
Yeah.
many.
What did you think? Did you happen to watch the one where I have like therapist has a breakdown to Chloe or Sam or Marcus?
I watched all of the ones on
All
Taylor.
those ones. Okay. I'm like, I always keep going. I almost took that one down because I was like so embarrassed by it. But I
Well,
was like,
because it was surprising, right? It was like it kind of hit you out of
shocked me.
I
I
don't
don't know.
remember I don't remember the meaning of it or what happened, but
It's about choosing, but you love drugs more than me. And I couldn't
right,
watch it happen. And so like that's
right. That was like echoing
yeah,
your own shit that you
my
went
own
through.
stuff. I mean, I
Yeah.
wrote a book, Hey Addiction, Thanks for Nothing. So it's like, you know, it's just like this whole
It's your life that you really relate to, but you didn't know how raw it was gonna hit you.
no. And that
Yeah.
is that's why I haven't flown through the album, I think, and done all the reactions. Cause I think I'm like,
It would be too emotionally exhausting.
yeah, like
Try
I'm
to
like
pace
getting
yourself.
nervous. I'm like, okay, is this gonna be a is this gonna be an
I
upbeat
know
one?
you're like, I hope this is gonna be a fun one. Like after
Yeah. I'm
when it
like,
was like
what's
so
going on?
I think so
Yeah,
high school was fun. So
that
was
was fun.
easy.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are like the bolters about attachment styles, and like people will get me like little, and they're like, "Do Peter about it's Peter Pan." I was like, "Oh god!" Like it's all. I'm like, it's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be heavy. So I'm getting close.
And you need time. Like, do you have somebody that
Yeah,
edits your videos or you edit them yourself?
I did before, and like stop. I couldn't really afford it, and
I
so
know
I
it's like, expensive for me to get someone to edit my podcast. It's like $500 a
yeah,
month. I'm like, I don't think
and
I'll.
I'm pretty picky too, like about like what parts I want in, what I don't. And so
I get
um
it. I get it.
yeah,
I
so
guess, I
I
guess we
do
have
it
similar
all.
traits. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little like that's where I almost, quit the channel a couple months ago because I was just
Mhm.
like, I'm making no money. I'm exhausted.
And you have such a high expectation for yourself that you don't want to do it wrong.
Yes.
You want to do it right. That's why my podcasts only come out once in a while now. In the beginning, I was doing them once a week, but I was like, why am I putting myself under so much pressure?
Right.
So
Right.
it's
I
like,
know. Well, because I feel bad, but what's so funny is as long as I let everybody know, like everybody's so supportive. Like it's
yeah.
crazy. They're like, take your time. And I'm like, why are you being so nice to me? Like it's like I'm not used to it.
That's awesome
Like,
because
there's
you got
clearly something wrong if I'm like, why are you being nice to me? Anyways.
it's like you got the right kind of community that can be understanding and not like
Sure.
unforgiving if you are just a human needing some time, because it's like it takes days to edit it, and it takes 2 seconds to consume it. It's just
Yes.
like even making stupid social media posts, like people have no idea how much effort and time goes into just even posting a story and attaching a link. That's like 3 minutes of time, you know?
No, I know. And I remember some of the comments when I was like, hey, what about Patreon? I'm like trying to see if I could make a little bit more money. And they were like, somebody's like, well, I'm not gonna pay for you to sit around and just be on your computer. I was like, what?
You're
Do you
like,
even know how much work this is?
I
Like this is
know,
like what?
I know.
I love it. I mean,
It's nice to get paid to do what we do, but it's not easy money because it's still effort
no.
and it's still work. I know
Yeah,
I'm getting paid to do like a sound healing at an event, which
that's
worked
awesome.
out to be a decent amount of money. My
Yeah.
son's like, oh my God, that's more money than I make, blah, blah. I'm like, but I'm hauling freaking, it's like, it's taking time. I'm going to be sweating. It's going to be like 6 hours. It's not like easy money. It's still great to see a bigger check, but
Yeah.
still work, like
Work.
no one's getting away cheap.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
good for you if you could make money like while you're, like doing your
Yeah.
passion, but meanwhile, they're not letting you make money off of anything with songs on it. So it's like,
It's like it's crazy. It's yeah. But and all you have to do is prove that it's fair use. Like you want to just prove that they don't want they don't want it to be the first place that somebody goes to hear the song. And I'm like, they're not. I'm like,
yeah.
some of these songs have been out. I mean, they're not, they've listened to the songs and they're recommending them
Well,
to
when you
me.
posted that song yesterday, what Lana Del Rey, was it like the
Oh
summer?
my goodness. That's like
So like
10
I
years.
was like, I know this song. And then I'm like, it came out in 2012, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
why do I know this song? Was this a remake of another song? And then I'm like, no, this isn't a new song. So
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah. I'm like, so
just
what's the deal,
yeah,
people? Come on
yeah.
now.
You're not
Yeah.
trying to pretend to
Yeah.
be the person delivering the music, and you're chopping it up in little pieces. So it's not
I
even
know. Still, yeah, it's maddening. I'm like, I wish I really knew what was going on
yeah,
above me.
I know. But like it's like all we can keep doing is just being a lighthouse
Exactly.
and shining our
Right.
light and like illuminating whatever we can to empower people, and that's what brought us together, because Taylor Swift does that,
Yes.
so
Yes.
to loop
Yes.
it back to the original,
Back to the original. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Alchemize.
because she
Mhm.
really is such a lighthouse and a positive role model and a support for the divine, a voice for the divine feminine, and I like that she's not afraid to use it. And when,
Yeah.
hopefully she gets married and has kids if she wants to, but I
Mhm.
can't imagine like what her music is going to become when she has those experiences, like holy moly, it's going to be amazing.
I mean, yeah, if she chooses to, which I've kind of been like, I don't know if she will or not, but then she has, alluded to talking rings and talking cradles, and I was like, oh, so maybe she is open to it.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be because I feel like my life started over when I had my son. Like I became a different person. Like I don't. I mean, I have. I mean that's a whole other story because I like essentially died like when I had him. Like it was like
Wow.
I
Yeah.
was in ICU for days and like had like kind of like an NDE experience, and so I
Oh wow.
truly feel like I've never been the same after I
No.
had him. But in so many different like how been able to do even more things I never thought I could do because of wanting what's best for him and kind of feeling like I just gave zero fucks anymore.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
it definitely changes.
Yeah, changes everything.
Yeah.
So I would love to, that's a really good point. I would love to see what her music will be,
Yeah.
what will be if she does choose to.
And even if she doesn't, just to be in a happy, stable relationship, if she's feeling like loved and supported and on equal footing here with with her new beau. It
It's
would be
so
great.
ah,
I'm
it's so
curious about your near-death experience, but that's okay. We don't have to get into it. But I love that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I'm
like,
happy to talk about it anytime, even though it's I wasn't a traditional one, but like where I was like up on the ceiling looking down, but it was
you did have some kind of
oh, I
celestial
mean, I
encounters.
was in the room. I spoke. I mean, I was under anesthesia and I spoke in the room. Like they were like freaked out by it.
Oh my
So
God.
the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. I felt like I was more like on the team with the people working on me.
Wow.
I was amongst them and I could hear what was going on and
I guess
everything.
you didn't fully leave.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Did you ever
no.
hear Anita Morjani's story, that author?
Mm,
She wrote a book called Dying to Be Me, and she
mhm.
had a near-death experience, and she went from like stage 4 cancer to like healthy
Wow.
because she chose to stay, you know? So I like, that's like my world. I just like live and breathe that. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's just amazing. So this world
It
is,
really is.
there's so much more to it than we even realize. So that's why.
So much more.
Yeah.
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 Yes. And ever since that happened, like synchronicities or stronger feelings, like I, I don't know. It was like somebody just like turned the volume up for me. Like
I
connect.
think that maybe just having the kids too, like, because my intuition came in strong when I got pregnant with my first, like I felt a shift in energy the night of conception. And then I didn't notice any other psychic experiences really too much like while pregnant. But then once he was born, she now, you know, it was very like, oh, there was a very stronger awareness. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, am I psychic now? Like, what's going on? Like, I could hear like the name of the germ that she had, you know, like she had like something, I forget now, I can't think of the name of it, but she had like God damn it, I can't think of the name of it, but it's like when their tongue is all white and they can't like,
Oh yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I knew the name and I was like, boom. And I was like, where'd that come from? You know, I just got like so psychic so fast. So I
So
think our kids just, the mother's intuition is a real thing. So that just their arrival, like they
just
say, our womb is a portal. So it's just like, it just kind of connects us deeper. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when he was 7 weeks old, it's like I just knew there was something wrong with him. Like I was like, we're going to the ER right now. And my husband at the time was so furious. He was just like, you're imagining things. Like, can we just, and I was like, you can be mad at me if there's nothing wrong with him. Like,
right,
sure. But like,
right.
we have to go right now. And he had a UTI and he had to be hospitalized at 7 weeks. Like it was,
Wow.
and he had to have a surgery at 14 weeks. And it's like, he's had a lot of stuff. But like, I think I finally come to the place where I'm like, yes, it is that, like about us having a portal and that it could just be, you know, this shift into motherhood instead of, I kept like explaining in a way being like, well, I had so many blood transfusions, like when they were like trying to keep me alive that I was like, it's probably that other person's blood that has made me different. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
Like, I was just like,
possible.
you never know.
And when I was in craniosacral class, they talked about like bone implants or like organ you know, harvesting and whatever, and how people help solve the mystery of the murder of the person whose heart they now have, you know, because they were getting flashes of insight. They're like, there's like cellular memory in the tissues and it's being shared with the rest of the system. So yeah, it's actually real. So it could be. It could be.
Why? Because I kept saying that,
Yeah.
and now, like I have kind of chills. Like I feel a little like, oh my gosh, because I kept feeling
That must be
like,
weird to know that other people's blood is in your body, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and because it was right after like gave birth, I started just can I tell you it really quick? Sorry.
Sure, I don't care.
Okay. They never picked up on it that the placenta was attached to my uterus. And so when I gave birth and she was stitching, my husband said that he was like, she kept like looking at the blood and then like getting this concerned. And then it was like the whole floor, it was just like filling with blood, like just, and so it was
Wow.
like hemorrhaging and they couldn't get the placenta out or anything like that. And so
Right.
I immediately went into their like quote blue, went into a surgery where they realized they couldn't do whatever they wanted. They couldn't make the bleeding stop. Like even if they were going to do a hysterectomy, like it wasn't going to stop it. And so they took this like balloon and like filled it up in there and then took me out and then did like 3 blood transfusions and then like tried to put them on me to breastfeed really quick, then took them away. And I was like, I don't want to do this. So I was like, I just want to go be with my son. Like, it's okay. I was like delusional trying to like, so they took me into another surgery. And that's when I was like, I could I was like helping with it, but there was a lot of like tension and like stress between the doctor and the nurses.
Hmm.
And so they did like a uterine artery embolization, and like that ended up working. I don't even know what, cut off some artery or did something. But they were like, you can't move your right leg for 4 hours after. So I was just in ICU, just like just trying, and just like got sick on myself. It was the most horrible, but I was like, I never have felt the same. Like, and
Yeah.
just even with my son, and just it was like the most bizarre. I've tried to wonder, I've just wondered, I'm like, what at what point? But yeah, I definitely wasn't on the ceiling, but I was definitely amongst the people. And
Right.
I said, am I okay, out loud? And then they were like, yes, you're okay. And then they talked back to me. And then I remember I was in the hospital for like a week and a half after, and one of the nurses, the doctor that did that surgery, kept coming in and checking on me every day
Hmm.
and stopping by and wanting to chat and things like that. And the nurse was like, that is so, he never checks on anybody. Like, why is he? And I was like, I think it's because I like talked out during surgery. And she was like, what? Like, just like this. And they're like, yeah, because I asked them, I was like, was this, and this going on? Were you saying this? And so they were like, you were aware that whole time.
Yeah, like you left your body, but you didn't go far.
Right. Right. I
Wow.
didn't see a tunnel. I didn't see anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
more of an
But
out
it
of
was
body
like
experience. Yeah.
out of body, and just, but still kind of like felt like I could sense, I like, it's like I started having more premonitions afterward though too.
Yeah, that always,
Also, yeah.
it's common for that
Yeah.
kind of a thing to happen. Like, and it just like elevates it after that,
Yeah.
flips the switch. But that's really awesome. And then using it for your own superpowers and your own
Yes.
benefit.
I know. I know. It's like, it's just at the time you're like, why is this happening to me? But then it is better later on.
Well, I have a friend who, I met her as a therapist actually, and then she became a friend. But then she decided to come to me and start like learning the energy stuff because she's like, that's something I always was interested in. And she said that she would just say things to her clients. I'm sure you have similar things where you just like things just come out of your mouth and you're
Oh
kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know where that came from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Where I'm
just,
like, I don't know how I know this, but I know this, or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You
it's
just decide to
crazy.
ask this question for some reason. So
Yes,
that's really, it's so cool.
it is really cool. It's something else. Do you do virtual sessions too?
Yeah, yeah, I do distance
Okay.
healing too. Yeah.
That's what, yeah, that's all I do. I mean, with Gina though too, but I would love to meet up sometime and do it.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking that too. I'm like, I should offer her a distance session because it's just so fun. It's so neat to experience. And I'm not far from New York. Not that you have anybody that's close here, but if you're ever in the North Jersey area,
Yeah,
experiencing it in person is really
that's,
extra powerful.
yes, for
But
sure.
it's just different. It's like apples and oranges. It's just a different experience. But yeah,
Yeah,
would be happy to. I was so happy to talk with you. Thank you so much. And I love that we went all over the place and you know,
yes,
but it's
all
all
over
good.
the place and follow the tangents, but they all connect.
Yeah, all thanks to our
Yeah,
mutual love and admiration.
yes.
But thank you so much, and I'll hit stop now.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I
Sure,
appreciate
sure. Thanks.
it. Thanks.